All right, welcome everyone to our 2024 Annual Employment Commons Cooperative Meeting. Really glad to have all of you here with us today. So we have these annually. Our bylaws require that we kind of share just a general update as we are a limited cooperative association. So unlike a corporation, there is some duties that we have to fulfill as a co-op, and one of them is just that we get to hang out with all of our members annually and share kind of what we've been up to, what the co-op's doing. We like to share a little bit of a product roadmap update, and just in general give a high-level view into what's happening with the co-op. So those of us that are here with Opolis, so John, myself, Tyus, David, I see down there, Jeremy. I don't have the full contact list pulled up, but if there's anyone else here with Opolis, we are the trustee, so we help support the Employment Commons and kind of help all the trains run day to day, run the payroll, do all the marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So in our duty as the trustee, we kind of present this to our community, by our community, for our community. So you kind of have a general idea of what's going on and where we're going to go next year. So to that end, we're going to make this a pretty clippy little presentation. John and myself will be your hosts today. John is our founder. He founded Opolis. Well, I guess we'll get to the timeline here next, but he founded Opolis. He is also the founder of ETH Denver, if any of you have ever been to ETH Denver. Our chief executive steward, general overall good guy, and visionary into how work can be better in the future. John, is there anything you'd like to say about yourself that I didn't already cover?
Well, I can do it on the timeline slide. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate it, Will.
You bet. And as for me, I'm Will at support@opolis.co, chief of staff, and also I like to think generally good guy. Here's where we're going next. So let's do a quick 30-minute update or so, and then we'll leave plenty of time on the back end, I expect, for Q&A. And this can be any kind of questions regarding the co-op, how we operate, kind of roadmap, where we're going, governance questions. The idea here is anything that you might have a question on generally for the co-op as a whole would be a great question to ask in this format. So I would just ask when we get to the Q&A, we'll use the chat function. If you have any questions as we go, use the chat function as well. I'll be sure to monitor that. And Jeremy, can you actually do me a favor as well and be our moderator for questions? And that would be helpful when we get to the end. Thank you, sir. So the kind of the main things we want to cover here is just our growth, what we've done over the last year, kind of a general update on membership and payroll volumes, and from there move into product roadmap, kind of where the co-op is going to go next, the things that we're expanding into, the new opportunities, the new referral programs, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Powler. Take it away.
Thanks, Will. So, hey, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time to come. Of course, we're recording this, so if we will post this in our various channels and also distribute it via email to members so that if you did happen to miss, you'll still be able to catch up on the community call, just so no one's going to miss anything. So don't feel like you got to rush here to like do it, to be here, and you're going to miss something. Although there are some interesting nuggets and alphas that we're going to drop, but I'm going to start with the timeline of this. So many of you probably don't know the full story of Opolis and how it came to be, but essentially I started talking about democratizing employment in 2005. Now, this was in a previous venture. I was in the personnel consulting, staffing business, recruiting, etc. I started in the business, and I actually started my own firm in 2002. And in 2005, a few years later, I started thinking that just the way employment works is very disproportionate, I guess you could say. I find it to be a pretty shady business, you could say. And so I started this venture, this purpose of democratizing employment. And for the most part, I had no idea what the hell I was talking about for the first few iterations of what we were doing. But fast forward through lots of learnings, lots of experiments, lots of just paying attention to how the game design and social anthropology works around employment, everything. You name it, we looked at it. and I researched it. And then you could say, let's see, in 2017, I started getting my eyes open to, new frameworks, new legal entity types, and, how do we actually push forward a next generation employment platform? And that culminated in launching Opolis in 2019. We released a white paper in 2019, which we kind of consider the launch. And then, we really went to market in early 2000, and we've grown a lot. Now, when it says Web3 dominance here, we started in what's called the Web3 space. Now, for you, those of you that don't know what this is, um, Web3 is a culmination of belief systems and technologies that come around the idea of decentralization. Now, what we've done to effectuate that is adopt a legal framework of a cooperative, which is decentralized because it's owned by the community, its members. And then we use certain technologies under the hood and incentive structures like our rewards token called work that are part of that toolkit. So, some people conflate Web3 with like, well, it's just crypto, it's scammy and all this. It's like, no, 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 no. The technology that's emerging out of Web3 will fundamentally change the way we all do business together. It's just at the front tip of it. It's just at the beginning, and you could consider us pioneers in this space. So stay tuned. But as far as like scare words, buzzwords, oh my God, this is scary. I don't know what this is. Like, no, we do everything by compliance standards, by statutes, by regulatory expectations. So like, I mean, we're in payroll and benefits. It's kind of like saying I really need a creative accountant. Well, you can't really have a creative accountant and not end up in jail, right? I mean, there's just ways that things need to be done. And the same goes for employment and payroll. So we take that very, very, very seriously. And then, fast forwarding here, we began operating in all 50 states, and then in 2023 we expanded to everybody. So originally we were kind of targeting people who were working in this, emerging space called Web3 that we call native Web3 folks, and we're like, I mean, there's a huge addressable market, and really anybody working independently is well suited for what we're doing. Why? Because people working independently value the same things as people in Web3 would value: freedom and flexibility. Decentralization is a core element that gives us those features. I mean, we'd certainly choose it. I mean, the journey that we're all on is chosen. It's something that we decide to do. It's not the easiest path to be independent, but we value being independent because of the freedom and flexibility that we get to work from where, with whom, and how much we choose. So given that there's scores of millions of individuals in the US working independently already, we're bringing these concepts to them now. And we've sort of abstracted away a lot of you could call it the Web3 speak, or like on the first slide, we had this word DAO. It's like, what is a decentralized autonomous organization? Nobody really knows what that is, nor does it matter. Okay. It's a cooperative platform that's member owned, and, whatever, specific jargon we're using, that's the core of it. And that's what matters the most. Now we've got, in terms of distribution and how we grow, we are largely dependent on referrals. Now this is not different for really any business that's grown itself from in a cooperative or member style format, whether it's REI or Sam's Club and Costco, or even Jet.com that got bought by Walmart. Membership platforms like this really depend on its membership and strategic distribution partners like Freelancers Union, who we have a deep partnership with, to generate growth. Now, in our context of everything, growth is good for everyone. There's no competition for services because we can scale 10 people or 10,000 people. The services quality isn't going to go down. Now, what hinders people from giving referrals? We're going to talk about referrals later and how you can benefit from that. But referrals are the lifeblood of what we do. And so, the call to action, I'll kind of start with seeding this and then we'll kind of punctuate with it at the end. But, please consider who your independent friends are. Think about those people in your network who could benefit from getting high quality, low cost health insurance. Right now is that time of year that everyone's thinking about that. I mean, it's, on this side of Thanksgiving, so people aren't, they're thinking about it. They're like, yeah, I really need to deal with that, but like, I don't want to deal with it yet. The only alternative that most people working out independently have is the state exchanges. And Opolis almost inevitably, if the price is the same, the care is better. And in most cases, especially in expensive states, we call them expensive states, but like California, New York, Illinois, you're not only getting better care in terms of doctor network, deductibles, et cetera, out of pocket max, but everything is better. It even costs less. In some cases, family plans in California, for example, people are saving thousands of dollars per month off the state exchanges. Now, that's not the same everywhere. It's not a guarantee either. If you're in South Dakota and you're an individual member, probably chances are our prices are about the same, depending on what you're looking at and depending on what your needs are. Usually doctor networks are limited on the state exchange. Ours are national. So regardless of the situation, it's usually better, but it's marginally better compared to saving thousands of dollars per month. So anyway, just some things to consider. We're going to come back to that topic. And, our real goal here and sort of where we're going, if you notice, 2026 hasn't happened yet. So I'm not a fortune teller, maybe. I'm not a time traveler, maybe. But the goal is to get to 10,000 members by 2026. And we believe that the network effect, that is the community, as owner members, we're all in the same boat. We all have a vested interest in getting bigger. Why? Because we get better arbitrage on price. We get better price, just overall costs. We can add services. We can optimize and streamline. Everything gets better for everyone. And then once we're actually getting to the point of profitability, we share those profits with the community. So instead of some gray-haired guy in a boardroom getting rich off the back of our work, the community benefits. This is the full regenerative nature of a cooperative model framework. Okay, so growth trajectory. We started expanding into Web 2. You can see earlier this year, or Web 2, we call it Web 2, but it's just, into people that don't come from that Web 3 native space. You can ignore my taxonomy of that. It's inconsequential, doesn't mean anything except that it's just somebody that's not coming from that space. So whether you're a social media influencer or you're an independent chiropractor or a realtor or a designer, an artist, a marketer, it doesn't matter. Like the type of work that you do is largely unimportant to us. We're agnostic, you could say. The services that we offer are relevant to anyone working independently. So it's more the lifestyle choice that's relevant than the content of the work. Now, there are exceptions to that. For example, if you're a over-the-road truck driver and there's high levels of liability or those kinds of things, we have to look at every situation independently. But for the most part, if you're doing something like what I mentioned previously, most everything is fair game. And we're growing. Okay, so there is a sort of a flatlining, you could say, in the Web3 market, goes through innovation cycles. So even with all that, we've continued to grow up to the right. And we're now processing over $50 million a year in payroll. So, only a couple of years into the market, it's a pretty great success story. And we expect that to continue to grow. Like I said, the addressable market is in the tens of millions. And if you think about people working independently, think about yourself, the struggle, having to cobble together all the services, figuring out all your compliance and your accounting and your payroll and how do I get proof of income to rent an apartment or whatever it might be. Opolis is that solution. And we're not here to provide a service that's extractive. We're here to provide a service that enables the next generation of entrepreneurs to choose the life that they choose, to express their creativity in a way that's meaningful for them on their terms, from where, with whom, and how much they choose.
Hey, John, can you speak to ACPV for those who might not have seen that acronym before?
Yeah, the acronym ACPV. So basically, this translates to PV is payroll volume, right? So it's annualized comments payroll volume. So when we look at each payroll cycle, if you were to multiply that by 26, that gets you an ACPV, because there's 26 payroll cycles.
24, but
Or
yes.
excuse me, 24. It used to be 26. There's 24 payroll cycles per year, 2 per month, first and third Fridays of each month. So, for example, if we're doing $4 million a pay cycle, when you times that by 24, that gets you, or let's say it's $2 million pay cycle. Sorry, just to do the math. So $2 million pay cycle, then you get $4 million per month times 12 is, 48 million. So that's how you calculate it. This is our North Star metric. Growth is good. So what accrues value to the community is more payroll volume. So how do we get more payroll volume? Well, we got to get more members. I can't go to each one of you and say, well, you should put more payroll through. You're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like already doing that. Of course, and we don't ever expect that you do a certain amount or whatever. We're asking you to do what works for you, as long as it's in sort of the guidelines of what the IRS and whatnot expect for compliance reasons. But other than that, it's up to you. So just choose your own adventure. So the only way that we can grow then is by expanding the community and bringing this product to people that need it. I don't know about you, but I don't know how many people don't want to save on a family plan, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per month. I mean, it's a pretty no-brainer in most contexts. And then, as a community, we benefit. But then again, I sort of seeded this in the beginning. We're going to kind of come back to how you benefit directly, and even how your referral benefits. So keep going there, Will.
All right, so I'll
All
take
right,
it from here.
Yep, pass it to you, back to you, sir.
Thanks, sir. So there's really 5 key pillars, but I'm going to harp on the first 4 as we have an eye towards the future. There's really 4 pillars that drive the community, drive our growth, drive our value propositions. If you've sat through one of our recent webinars, you've maybe seen some of these. I'm just going to get them all up on the screen so you can see all of them at once. So really, when we started Opolis, the main thing we had to prove out is this proof of market on our flagship product, the payroll, benefits, taxes for independent workers. We feel like we've done that pretty well, and we've shown that we can grow that pretty scalably. But there's still a lot of freelancers who don't yet meet those income needs. There's freelancers who come to us who are just starting out and trying to kind of get their feet underneath them and build up their income reserves, and their cash flow isn't quite where it needs to be a full-time member. And so to address this, we really want a community of communities where everyone comes to us as they are in their current practice and has a place to belong here and contribute. So in that regard, we're kind of continuing to build out our co-ops offerings to those who are still on the flagship product doing payroll and benefits, but then can also opt into other engagements. So you'll see, our Discord channel has kind of been our traditional avenue for a community. We've also created a new Facebook group. David, I might ask you if you could drop the link to our new Facebook group here in the chat for those who want to join that and haven't. We'll be creating a LinkedIn group shortly. It takes a little time to kind of spin each of these up, so that won't be coming soon. We're also going to be doing more webinars and podcasts that are member only. So this will be value add educational things that help our community kind of grow and learn from one another. So if you have a special skill or some kind of talent, I know we have some members that are CPAs, for example, that are going to be doing some kind of general tax and accounting and bookkeeping overviews, and we'll have some others that are lawyers that can come in and speak to entity types and the like. So we'll have more educational opportunities for those who are still learning, or those who are still maybe curious about being an independent worker but haven't made the full leap yet. And for those of you who are like totally professionalized, been a consultant for 40 years, what you bring to the table is also valuable. And we might ask that you lend your wisdom in the journey to those who are just starting out. Another one that you're going to see is kind of new in your dashboard is the perk section, and that's going to be continually built out. This is where we are sourcing deals and discounts from all sorts of different corners of services and products for our members. So this might be discounts on accounting or entity services, or in the future for our designers, we might get a corporate license for Adobe Suite, or we might get designer tools in other regards. So this is kind of where we can really use our purchasing power to find deeper discounts on services that we all use anyways as freelancers and independent workers. So we're going to continue to hunt for those deals and provide those to our community. Then, of course, you still have the payroll, you still have the benefits. We've added several new benefits, which you'll find in open enrollment this year if you're a full-time member. And if you're not a full-time member, if you're just a member of the cooperative so far and kind of looking around, we also have other products for you that you can get. So critical illness and legal shield and many others. I don't think Micah's on the call, but we can connect you with Micah if you're interested, and kind of understanding what your other options are on the benefits front if you're not a full-time payroll member. Now, the fifth pillar I hinted at is rewards. And John, I think, did a fair job in talking about rewards. As a community, as we are all owners of this thing collectively, when we succeed, we all succeed. And so as revenue comes back and when we hit profitability, we're able to issue dividends to all of our members with those consumptive profits. So look for that as we continue to grow. Ultimately, this is what we want to make sure everyone's aware of, is that what we're growing here is community. We're not selling a product to make extractive value. I think this is what sets us apart from some of our competitors, whether it's Deal or Gusto, that you might know kind of have the market share. The difference here is that we're building this together, and each of our individual efforts kind of makes up the sum of parts into the whole. So our strategy to that end is to continue to build as a community of communities, to pull in the communities and our networks where we can collectively win and continue to gain market share in the services and the products that we offer. So in that vein, continue to look for new services and discounts, as I mentioned. We're also improving our UI UX. We spent a substantial amount of our time over the last year really ramping up our technology and working on the interface and the design. You'll notice that we have rolled out the new dashboard in the last few months. If you have any feedback, please let us know. We're always looking to improve it. You'll see new features are being shipped just about every week now, moving forward. So we've gotten to a place technologically where we can really hit the gas pedal on new features and new things that our membership needs. And so if you have any ideas on product or something is not there that you would like, we're going to continue to bolt on new features and new products and new services that our members need. In that same vein, we're always looking for new partnerships. Accounting is the big one. We have recently partnered with Dench. They do full service bookkeeping and taxes. So if you're looking for a bookkeeper and taxes, Dench is a great new partner that you'll find in your perks page. We're also looking, if there's any other CPAs that can do just basic tax returns. We can't have enough of these. So often CPAs are booked up with their tax returns, especially in the busy part of the year when our members need them most. As a reminder, as an S Corp owner, your deadline to file is March 15th, not April 15th. So do be sure that you plan on a little bit earlier of a return or extension. And having more CPAs on deck to fulfill all of our members' demands is always something we're looking for. So if you have a great CPA, please send them our way. That'd be awesome to talk with them. And then just coordination. This is shared services, discounts, like I mentioned, for Adobe or for Google Suite. There's all sorts of things that we can do in the future with our collective purchasing power. And then, as I mentioned, more community events and educational webinars. So if you're a payroll member, you'll find there's a community calendar now on your dashboard that you can navigate to. And if you're a co-op member, you'll find that's your basic calendar on your dashboard is the community events. So we will continue to add more events to that, and that's the best place to keep an eye out for what's coming up next. As we grow, because we are member-owned, in our bylaws, 1,000 members is the tipping point for governance. John, I might hand it off to you actually to walk us through kind of what governance might look like as we scale towards 1,000 members this year.
So the way we do governance here is, as a cooperative, we're required to have a board. But that board, there's a lot of flexibility in how you manage governance for a co-op from a statutory standpoint. So we set up what's called a board of stewards. Now, who's on the board of stewards? The majority of the board of stewards are people just like you, people who are members in the community. These were early adopters who were appointed to the board. So there were not elections in the very beginning of this, but there was some group decisions that made on who we felt like had the requisite skill sets, insights, and expertise to provide value to the board. And that board currently sits at 7 members. So what will happen, however, at 1,000 members is those board seats will come up for election. And when those board seats go up for election, there will be a nomination process and a voting process amongst the community to determine a new board. Now, there are some exceptions to that. We do have one investor type who is on the board. He's not an investor in the co-op. The co-op is owned by the members, but they're in the trustee. He is an investor. So like there is one person on the board who has investor type of incentives, but he comes from a very collaborative, he comes from the Web3 space. So he comes from a very aligned interest background. But other than that, it's all people from the community. And we'll continue that. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because, if you go read the white paper, which I'm not going to paraphrase it, there's a lot of discussion about alignment of incentives. And if you talk about capitalism and you talk about, all the different kind of like social constructs or business constructs or ideas, there's what they call erosion of incentive alignment over time in a lot of different business models. And we're trying to build this to be sustainable. So, well, you can't just say that. You have to actually build in mechanisms to do that. Well, one of the ways that we do that is maintaining what we call structural benevolence by having a board who's aligned with the goals of the members of the community. Now, that might sound like a totally no duh, right? Like, well, will we vote on people that, even for our public office and public service offices in government, don't we vote on people that we feel like are going to align with our incentives? Well, that's at least what the stated goals are. But then under the hood, there's other incentives like special interests or campaign finance favors or whatever that, you hire these government officials to do what you ask them to do, and then they end up doing other things a lot of the time. Well, we've avoided all of that by basically making it from the community. So people consuming the product are those on the board, myself included. I mean, I'm a member of Opolis just like everybody else is. Why? Because I can't think of a situation where I would be qualified to weigh in on what people want if I'm not somebody who wants the same thing. And that goes for our entire team. So whether they're on the board or not, if they're just a team contributor, that goes for the entire team. So the point being is we definitely want the community to take more of a role in seeing the next chapters of Opolis development and giving people an opportunity to participate in that. Raise your hand and ultimately run for election and maybe win a seat on the board. So more to come on that. That's at 1,000 members that will begin that process. So it'll probably take a little bit of time after that to get things implemented. Make sure that things are tight from a bylaws and governance standpoint, just documentation as we move into that phase, but it is coming. Now, even after that comes, there will be a lot of what we call community signal voting that happens. So this will be product enhancements, things that ultimately, impact you, where we might come and do a survey of some sort or do a questionnaire or even put something up for a vote. Now that vote won't be binding based on the roadmap that we've got right now, but it will inform the board on what the sentiment of the community is. So it's not just like, it will be public, right? So it's not going to be something that's kind of hidden behind doors or whatever. It's like, no, if the signal says, yes, we should be doing that, whatever that is, that's going to signal to the board to vote that way. And if we don't vote that way, then we're going to have some sort of misalignment. So again, everything's put in place from transparency and game design incentive alignment to make sure that we have a sustainable operation and we have business decisions that are happening that are in the best interests of our member owners, because there should not be anything other than that happening. The best interest of our member owners is the sustainability of our community. It is how we grow, and it is how we sustain that growth. Anything else you want to add on that?
I think that covers it. If there's any other questions, let's chat on those on the Q&A. So tasks and asks, as I like a good rhyme or acronym, there's a few things here. One is, if you are an active employee member, open enrollment is indeed open. So please go into your dashboard under your task list. You'll see open enrollment. Click that and get started. We have great new plans for 2025. Everything is moving to Cigna based on, as John mentioned, the temperature check survey on benefits and what our members most wanted. We moved everything back to Cigna rather than Imagine 360 for next year. There's a bunch of new benefits. Check it out in the benefits guide that's linked there. But do please complete open enrollment. We need 100% participation in that to make sure everyone gets the benefits they need before the beginning of the year. The sooner you do it, the sooner your cards and enrollment can be processed, and you will receive those in a much timelier fashion. The sooner you can get that done, as carriers get more and more delayed as we get closer to the end of the month and December craziness. So let's get that done. I think we mentioned on one of the first slides, but we will be hitting another payroll consumptive volume epoch. So this is when we grow another 10% and we release another tranche of 5 million tokens. We do expect to hit that pretty soon as we're continuing to grow. So do be sure, if you've been here for a while, I think it was July of last year that we had our last epoch. So you might have tokens to claim if you were here earlier than July of last year. Otherwise, just hang on, and once we hit this new epoch, you'll be getting your tokens for all the payroll you processed since then. So that's that call to action. And then the next is really, to John's point of how we grow, being your referrals and our community, supporting our community, is this partner program. This is our best way to incentivize and encourage our community to refer our networks and our friends. So the easiest thing is partner.opolis.co. If you visit there, if you're a co-op member, you still need to go over there and register separately. It's a separate platform, but this will allow you to get a dedicated landing page with your headshot and with your name linked to it, and a dedicated referral link that you can send out to your network. And this is the best way to do it. If they click through on your landing page, you'll be credited with that referral. You'll be able to track their progress as they go from a lead to as they join the co-op to as they run payroll. And once they start doing that, you'll start seeing some dollar signs tick up, which is always fun, right? So as you refer someone, and if they join, you get 12% revenue share in perpetuity. So on average, this is about $30 per member per month that you can receive. So if you continue to refer your network to Opolis, you'll receive this in perpetuity for as long as this program lasts. On top of that, you'll get bonus cash. So for each month they're an active member in the first year, you'll get an extra 10 bucks. So what you're looking at is really $40 a month per member per month in perpetuity for that first year. And then once the bonus cash drops out, you still have work rewards. So this allows you to receive future dividends. You get pro rata rights to dividends based on your work holdings. So say we give a dividend and you have, I don't know, 5% of the work tokens, you would be entitled to 5% of the dividend, roughly speaking. So the idea here is, as you refer more people, you also receive more work tokens for that long tail reward, in addition to the immediate revenue share. Let's see, and to make it even sweeter for you, we're doing a limited time offer. John, take it away.
Yeah, so if you start doing the math on, what you can make on a referral, Will mentioned, approximately $30, $40 a month on just one referral that you're making. Now, this is where I think things get interesting. This has never been available, by the way, ever in a context of something like this. Now, I'm not recruiting any of you to become full-time recruiters, to bring your friends and all this kind of nonsense, okay? If you have a network that has people in it, then we're saying, go fishing, find your friends that need this, and why not make money on it? Why not everybody benefit? So in addition to the cash compensation that you're going to get and the long-term rewards that you're going to get in terms of work rewards, we're also offering this. If you refer 3 new members by January 1st, 2021, that they join by that date, you will have no payroll fees yourself for a year. So in other words, if you just help your friends, and you save some money and get the things that they need too on their entrepreneurial journey, you can not pay any fees. Now, if you want to take this to the big, in combination, this revenue sharing plan plus all of this, not only could you be getting all of your services for free, but if you did have a network of folks that that work independently that need something like this, because let's face it, everybody does. The thing is about Opolis, most people just don't know about it. So it's not a function of they don't want it or need it or not, or care about it. This is a brand new product category. And what that means is most people working independently have never heard of something like this. So how are they going to hear about it unless we tell them? Well, that's the whole point of sort of cooperative incentives, is like we help grow this together, okay? Because we all benefit in the outcomes. You could literally earn free healthcare. You refer 10 people at $40 a month, that's $400 a month. I mean, how much is a baseline plan about that for an individual? If you spend some time at it, we actually have a few people in the community that have referred dozens of people over a few years. And I mean, they're doing great. Essentially the services are free for them all the time. Plus they make money and it nets off, some of their costs, right? So why not do that? Why not do that? Why not be part of that growth curve? So anyway, whether you do or you don't, it's up to you. These incentives are here. It's not required. It's not something you have to do. It's just something that we're putting out there as an opportunity. All right, so that's the end of sort of the update presentation, kind of talking about our growth, history, trajectory, product goals, adding features, just kind of state of the union. So we'll open it up to question and answers. So Will, I guess you're going to curate that for us.
Yeah, I can host that. If you have any questions, start using the chat. If you'd rather just come off mute and ask verbally, that's totally fine too.
So we sign up for these links, for referral links. We can keep using that forever. I mean, until we, obviously leave the group, or is it like
you can maintain your membership even if you go inactive. So you can become what's called a coalition member. You can still be a referring member even if you leave. So as long as you maintain your membership in some form or fashion, you maintain benefit of those referral fees. So yeah, you can use the link as long as you're around, and even if you ended up going inactive.
And we would get like a referral bonus or whatever for the first year of the person that signed up.
Correct.
It's not like for the next year, if you sign people up, you'll get a referral bonus. It's like if we signed 3 people up by the end of this year, then for a year,
you get a bonus
fees.
Just for the sign up. You get an extra $10 per month for the first year. That's the revenue side. Now, in terms of your fees, the kicker is if you refer 3 people that join by between now and January 1st, you'll get your fees free too, in addition.
Cool.
So
are there any regulations on how we like can we post it to our website and just, and tell people to click on the link? I mean,
you can. You totally can.
By the way,
so the regulatory stuff around healthcare is like this. Okay, so there was a company at one point called Zenefits that was essentially selling healthcare. We're not selling healthcare. We're selling a business process outsource. Like it's a support platform for independent workers, of which part of the benefits that you receive as a member is access to healthcare. So whether or not you take it, that's up to you. Now, as far as the gray areas, I wouldn't talk to your referrals about, unless you're just giving them anecdotal experience with your choices around healthcare. You could do that, but I wouldn't try to get into the business of trying to pitch them the finer details of healthcare insurance.
Mhm.
Now, that's not technically a foot fault, because we're still not selling insurance. Like, you're not benefiting directly from the sale of that plan. You're benefiting from them joining as a member, but it could get gray if you did that. So we're just saying, like, look, make a referral. Our team will handle the rest.
Mhm.
You don't have to do much aside from, what we do find is, what are the reasons why people join Opolis? Largely, it's because they've got a friend using it who they trust. So if whatever you've got to do to say, hey, to build that trust, whether it's a first degree connection or a secondary connection, and they just know who you are, there's some sort of implicit trust there, right? That they might pick up on that trust and then come to us. That's all, really. I mean, however you can effectively build that trust so the referral's engaged. Now, this time of year is pretty easy because people are thinking about this stuff. So, if you've got a large network of independent working friends, or an audience or whatever it might be, and now is a great time. So, you want to earn the extra money and get free fees and, help us grow. It's a win-win-win, right? It benefits everybody.
I think so. For me, I was like, if I put it on my web page or LinkedIn page or something, I would probably just need like a little, clarifier. I may get, financial benefits or something from
Like
these.
a little disclaimer.
Yeah.
You can just say, I'm a member and benefit, we benefit from your joining. So don't take this as anything, but, obviously I'm a member. I use the service and it's great. Right. So.
Got it. Okay.
And that's generally the context too. We have people that have shared it on their podcasts. We have some of our bigger partners that have newsletters, share it that way. And then I've seen some of our members just on like subreddits, just posting their affiliate link when people are asking, like, hey, have you ever heard about Opolis? What's this thing? And someone will share their affiliate link there. That's, fair game. However you connect with your friends and audience. I think to John's point, saying like, I'm an active member here and this has benefited me. It could benefit you too. You're pretty free and clear on compliance issues there. Thanks for the question, Sarah. All right, anyone else?
That's a great question, by the way. Any other comments or feedback? Is there anything you'd like to see on the next call that we didn't cover this time? Is there, more backdrop story, more understanding of the goals and vision, product specifics? Like, we kind of went high level today on purpose. We kind of chose that specifically because, I don't know, just historically, people haven't wanted more detail. But that doesn't mean things don't shift or change, and just asking the question. All right, Will, anything else you want to cover before we give people 9 minutes back of their time?
I don't think so. I just want to say thank you for everyone that joined. And then for those who didn't join, you'll get the recording, and we missed you, and we hope to see you on the next iteration. We'll probably try to do it sometime about this time next year, but maybe not during open enrollment since we're all running around like chickens with their heads cut off currently. But we do appreciate all of your time on the short notice. And if you ever have any questions about the co-op in general, feel free to reach out to support@opolis.co. You can also just reach out to any of us on Discord. That's probably the best platform for now. So we just thank you all for being members, and we've got big things planned for next year and are excited that you're along for the ride. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.